Hello there, and thanks for checking out my summer 2020 stuck at home project. This is the output of a 1987 Compute Magazine Fractal generator written for a Commodore Amiga. This is a video of somebody running it on a Commodore Amiga. This is something that stuck in my head as a kid, but I never had the kind of computer that you could use to draw such things. You can probably tell what it's doing here if you're just looking at it and know anything about it. It's computing an array with random levels that have been averaged together to make something that looks like a mountain range. That's a terrible description, but it's as close as I'm going to get right now. But it's something that stuck in my head as a kid. I was intrigued by how simple fractal routines tended to be and how short they tended to be and how good of results they could get. And for whatever reason, I always wanted to just type it in myself and run it. And if you weren't a kid with a computer back then wanting to play games but not wanting to spend a bunch of money on games, you probably don't know that there were magazines like Compute that printed basic programs and machine language programs that you could type in and run on your computer. And this just happens to be one of them. And last year, whenever I was stuck at home, it popped back into my head. And so I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna scroll over to this next page. You can see that it's in BASIC, perhaps. And like most basic programs, other than the fact that it doesn't have line numbers, it's more or less just a lot of for loops, a lot of math, and a little bit of drawing. So it was a pretty good candidate for converting over to Pygame in Python. Now, I won't claim that my port is the best attempt at doing this, or that it's a best practice, but I will say that it actually works. I threw everything into a class. I kept all the variables the same. I kept all the math and everything the same, as close to the same as I could, including going so far as to figure out how palette routines worked in Amiga BASIC, and then working around the difference between how the color palette worked on a 1985 Amiga versus how a color palette works in 24-bit color today. And the other major difference is that drawing filled polygons in Pygame is completely different from how Pygame does it, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. I also took out the code for inputting your own random seed and other variables and just had it computed on its own. So the way I ended up making this work was that I create a new object and call the draw routine, and then in a loop I check to see if somebody has hit a key, and if they've hit a key, it just draws a new fractal mountain. And I'm going to keep hitting the key until I get one that I really like. And I like that one. And the only other key is the escape key, which exits the program. Alright, thanks for watching.